Thank you for joining the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry training. My name is Brian Gower. I'm the Senior Program and Client Services Manager for M-RETS. This is a training video that will cover the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry program. We will cover the following topics: overview of M-RETS, overview of the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry program, M-RETS system training, eligible participants, organization registration, overview of multi-factor authentication, organization management, fee structure, generator registration, generation data reporting, data validation, credit issuance, participating in the Ontario program, credit management, active accounts, retirement accounts, credit management, reports, and conclusion. M-RETS Inc. is a 501c4 nonprofit that created and operates the M-RETS tracking platform, an industry-leading renewable resource tracking system that tracks and manages the activity of a diverse variety of environmental attributes and other energy commodities. M-RETS has been in operation since 2007 and tracks renewable energy credits, clean energy credits, alternative energy credits, and renewable thermal credits for any eligible generator located in North America. The M-RETS Renewable Energy Tracking Platform issues clean energy credits for the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Program for every megawatt hour of clean energy generation. M-RETS is committed to developing innovative data solutions for our stakeholders. Our data tracking tools help to accurately measure emissions reductions across the energy economy and facilitate renewable energy claims for compliance in voluntary markets. Our innovations have been developed in collaboration with key stakeholders and industry leaders across the world. We have implemented the ability to track beyond renewable attributes through alternative energy credits, beyond the monthly generation with the implementation of hourly granular credits, and beyond electric generation with the implementation of the renewable thermal credit tracking system. M-RETS is excited to partner with the IESO in the development of the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry program to track environmental attributes associated with the generation and consumption of clean electricity within the province of Ontario. The M-RETS tracking platform covers many programs across North America, including Canada. Some innovations and features available in the M-RETS platform will not be applicable to all users. Please refer to Appendix E of the M-RETS operating procedures for the Ontario program rules for guidance on the features available to Ontario participants. Some of the recent innovations M-RETS has made available to our users include alternative energy credits. M-RETS has expanded to track alternative energy credits for resources like nuclear. Alternative energy credits allow fuel sources that are not considered renewable to be tracked and certified if they have environmental attributes the market or specific regulatory programs need to meet market demand or legal requirements. Ontario includes nuclear as eligible for the program. All nuclear generation will be issued alternative energy credits, which can be used for compliance with the Ontario program. Hourly granular credits. M-RETS has been actively implementing hourly data tracking, data analytics, and granular credit tracking in multiple phases. The first phases involved completing the necessary steps to track hourly data, enabling organizations to submit hourly claims with monthly vintage retirements, and providing data analytics with visualizations on data curves and on-peak versus off-peak data. All of these features are available in the M-RETS tracking system prior to the launch of the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry. By integrating hourly data, M-RETS is helping users ensure that each hour of their operations matches the actual renewable energy produced at that time. This level of accuracy is crucial when accounting for renewable energy use, making hourly generation data more reliable than traditional methods. M-RETS is currently working on completing the final phase of hourly data tracking, which involves facilitating the fractionalization of monthly credits into granular credits. Please contact the M-RETS administrator for further instruction on granular credits. Granular credit tracking will allow organizations to make hourly environmental claims for specific hours. As consumers expand their carbon-free energy initiatives, greater access to data will allow organizations to make more informed decisions to lower their carbon emissions. Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry Program. The IESO, acting on instructions from the Province of Ontario, established a program within the M-RETS tracking system for its voluntary clean energy credit registry for the generation and consumption of clean electricity within the Province of Ontario, pursuant to provisions Part 2.1 of the Electricity Act. In March of 2023, Ontario participants wishing to participate in the Ontario program must register with the M-RETS tracking system. All Ontario generators registered with the owner or assigned to the designated responsible party must be registered in the M-RETS tracking system under a general account subscription. The IESO Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry Program Administrator will invite all Ontario participants to participate in the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry Program. All Ontario participants must retire credits into a retirement account that is linked to the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry Program. The following sections will cover the program requirements in more detail. Eligible participants. Ontario participants must register in M-RETS with a general account subscription. There are two types of participants in the Ontario program. Ontario generator owners or their designated responsible parties registered in M-RETS to sell the clean energy credits to organizations with Ontario load. This type of user is referred to as an Ontario transferor. Ontario participants who purchase or acquire clean energy credits from the generator owners. This type of user is referred to as the Ontario transferee. All participants must register an M-RETS general account subscription for their organization and disclose in the registration that they are an Ontario program participant and whether they are retiring credits toward their load. The M-RETS system administrator will provide the IESO program administrator with the contact information for all Ontario participants. Each Ontario participant can expect to receive an invitation to participate in the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry Program within their M-RETS dashboard after the organization registration is approved. Organization registration. Ontario program participants are required to register a general account subscription. This type of organization can register and maintain generators, manage credits, which means they can hold, transfer, and retire credits, and participate in the Ontario program. The general subscription is charged an annual fee of $2,200 per year. Registration process. The M-RETS organization registration process can be completed in several straightforward steps. Step 1. Initiate the online registration. Initiate the registration by visiting the M-RETS application page. The URL address is www.mrets.org. Select the Login button. If you do not have a registered organization, select the Sign Up link to fill out the registration form from the login screen. Participants in the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry shall register in the M-RETS Renewable Electricity System. Step 2. Complete the online registration form. Organization type. Select the organization type that best describes your organization. Ontario organizations need to identify that they participate in the Ontario program and whether their retirements will be aimed at serving utilities and/or supplying end-use customer load. Complete the name and email address fields for the account manager. The account manager name and email needs to be a real individual. Sharing M-RETS logins is prohibited under the operating procedures and terms of use. M-RETS permits the organization to set up an unlimited number of users to access the account. The Ontario Clean Energy Credit Program permits all organization types except for the program administrator and qualified reporting entities. Account type. Select the subscription level. The Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry Program requires Ontario participants to register with a general account subscription. Contact information. Complete your organization's contact information. Billing contact information. Complete your organization's billing contact information. Confirm the registration information is accurate. Select the acknowledgement that states, "Submitting this registration form will result in the establishment of an official registered subscription in M-RETS. I agree to pay the above registration fee within 30 days of receiving the invoice. If not paid in this time, I understand my subscription will be canceled." Step 3. Administrator Review. The M-RETS System Administrator will review the registration and perform our Know Your Client check before approving the registration. The Administrator Review can take up to a week to complete. Review times can vary depending on the number of registrations in our pipeline. Please contact the M-RETS Administrator if you have questions about your pending registrations. The KYC check includes a review of incorporation documents, a review of the organization's website, a review of the organization and account manager's LinkedIn profiles, and a review of the Office of Foreign Asset Control's sanction list. If the M-RETS administrator cannot verify the organization or is unsatisfied with the documentation publicly available, the organization may be asked for additional information, including, but not limited to, a board resolution or other appropriate authorization document stating that the applicant has been chosen to open an account with M-RETS and that the account manager listed on the application is duly appointed and authorized to accept the terms of use. A government-issued identification document with photograph for the account manager, and a Schedule C designation of agency. The account manager will receive an email when the organization account has been approved. Overview of multi-factor authentication. After an organization subscription has been established, it is recommended that the account manager set up multi-factor authentication. M-RETS provides security for users and organizations by providing multi-factor authentication. This feature is available to all users. Multi-factor authentication works by combining something you know, for example, your credentials, with something you have, for example, a time-based one-time password retrieved via a trusted mobile device, to gain access to a system. Multi-factor authentication is an opt-in process for organizations. The M-RETS multi-factor authentication supports receiving multi-factor authentication keys via SMS text, Authenticator app, email, or phone call. If you have any questions on setting up your multi-factor authentication, please contact the M-RETS administrator. Multi-factor authentication has rapidly become a security best practice, and we want to encourage all organizations and users to consider opting in to its use. Multi-factor authentication protects against the risks associated with compromised passwords by adding a layer of security to system authentication. The reality is that employees do fall for phishing scams and they do share passwords. If you're not using multi-factor authentication, your organization is wide open to attacks. A vast, if not one of the biggest security threat today, is the risk of compromised credentials. M-RETS supports the use of Authy to verify multi-factor authentication. Authy is a two-factor authentication service for mobile devices and computers. It is used as a smartphone application that pairs with your online accounts. Once connected, Authy sends an SMS text message containing a 6-digit code to your Android or iOS device to access your online accounts. Download Authy from your phone's App Store. Please note that sharing logins is prohibited under the M-RETS terms of use. Sharing logins that are set up with multi-factor authentication may result in being locked out of the account. The account manager should invite additional users to the organization's account if multiple people need to access the account. How to turn on multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication must be activated for the organization by a user with Manage Organization Permissions. The organization's multi-factor authentication can be activated by selecting your name in the upper right corner. Select the organization info. The Security tab is where the organization can enable the multi-factor authentication for all users that access the organization. Select the Enable Radio button to turn on multi-factor authentication for all users. Once the organization has enabled multi-factor authentication for all users accessing the organization's M-RETS account, the user can log in and set up their multi-factor authentication from a pop-up screen that will be displayed upon logging in, asking for the cell phone associated with the Authy account. The user will be asked to enter a token from the Authy app associated with the user's phone number. Tokens can also be provided via SMS text message or phone call using the links provided in the pop-up. Organization Management Profile. M-RETS provides users with Manage Organization Permissions access to manage the organization, user profile, billing information, user permissions, and security settings from the drop-down menu in the top right of their dashboard. To manage the profile, select Profile to edit the user profile information, set up the user's multi-factor authentication, and the user's notification preferences. All users can edit their profile contact information, multi-factor authentication registration, and notification preferences by selecting the Edit button. It is advisable for users to log in and activate their notification preferences after first accessing their M-RETS dashboard. Organization Management, Organization Info. M-RETS users with Manage Organization Permissions can manage their organizational info, billing information, users, add API keys, and set up their security multi-factor authentication settings from the organization info. Select the name to access the dropdown in the top right of the dashboard and select Organization Info. The Organization Info tab displays all information from the organization's registration. Users with Manage Organization Permissions can edit this information using the Edit button. Organization Management, Billing. The Billing tab is where the organization can view and edit the billing information for the account. It is important to keep the billing contact information up to date. Organizations with posted invoices can view the invoice numbers and charges in the Invoices section. The transactions making up the volumetric fees can be reviewed by using the link associated with the invoice. Organization Management, Users. The Users tab is where the organization can view all users invited to the account, invite new users, and manage their permissions. To invite new users, select the Add New User button to send an email to a user. Complete the new user's name and email information and appropriate permissions. The new user will receive an email to complete their profile and set up a password. A full description of the user permissions can be found in the M-RETS operating procedures. Organization Management API Keys. The API Keys tab is where the organization can create an application programming interface key to access their account via an API. Contact the M-RETS administrator if you are interested in setting up API access. Organization Management Security. The Security tab is where the organization can edit its multi-factor authentication settings for the organization. The M-RETS fee structure. Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry program participants will be subject to the following fees. Subscription fees. Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry program participants will be required to register a general account subscription. This subscription is charged $2,200 payable at the time that it registers in M-RETS and in the month of registration for each subsequent calendar year. Issuance fee. An organization shall pay 0.7 cents US per credit issued for up to the first 1,100,000 credits issued in M-RETS each calendar year by a given generator registered in its organization. The issuance fee cap does not apply to backloaded generation or alternative energy credits. Voluntary retirement fee. An organization shall pay 1.5 cents US for every voluntary retirement in the registry. All invoices will be emailed to the billing contact identified in the registration. Invoices will be issued once the billable activity reaches at least $50. If a subscriber fails to pay the invoiced fees within 90 days of issuance, M-RETS will close the organization's access to the system. A user that wishes to reactivate an organization that is closed due to failure to pay shall be required to pay the full fee as well as an additional reactivation fee equal to 65% of the current subscription fee applicable to the closed organization. Generator registration. Eligible fuel types. The Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry program only allows generation registrations with the following fuel sources: biofuel, biogas, biomass, hydro, nuclear, solar, and wind. Required documentation. As part of the generator registration agreement, the user must attest that this generator is not registered in any other registry. Generator assets that are jointly owned must privately appoint a single organization where the generator will be registered. To register the generator asset, the owner of the generator asset or responsible party must submit a generator registration and required documentation. M-RETS documents are located on the website www.mrets.org. Select Getting Started to see the registry documents in the drop-down. The following documents are required for each registration: a completed Schedule A from the M-RETS Terms of Use outlining the generator owner's designation of responsible party is required if the organization registering the generator is not the owner of the generator. A Schedule A form can be found posted on mrets.org. Select the registry documents located under the Getting Started menu for a list of M-RETS documentation. Documentation to verify the registration information, including location, ownership, nameplate capacity, and commercial operation date. The M-RETS administrator may ask for additional documentation if the M-RETS System Administrator or IESO Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry Program Administrator determines it is necessary. Typical documentation could include utility signed interconnection agreement, utility certificate of completion, provincial air permit, provincial regulatory order, PPA, or installation contract. Documentation supporting the capacity factor calculation and annual output of a generator, for example, engineering report prepared by a licensed professional engineer, solar design tool reports such as Aura, Helioscope, PV-Syst, or PV Watts. Multifuel generators must submit to M-RETS a report prepared by a licensed professional engineer containing the documentation for measuring and verifying the quantities of each fuel type, the method of determining the net heat content and moisture content of each fuel source, and the heat rate of the generator. M-RETS shall share this documentation with the provincial regulators upon request of the regulator. Generator assets with installed battery backups must provide documentation to illustrate that grid power used to supply the battery is not metered as generation from the generating asset. Types of generator registrations. M-RETS facilitates several types of generator registrations. The generators include standard generator registrations. M-RETS provides two types of standard generator registrations: Renewable Energy Certificate, otherwise known as Clean Energy Credit Generators, and Alternative Energy Credit Generators. M-RETS also facilitates distributed generation groups for aggregating distributed generation units up to 1 megawatt. Renewable Energy Certificate Generators are also known as Clean Energy Certificate Generators. The Clean Energy Certificate Generator registrations are used to register all renewable energy generators with the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Program. Alternative Energy Credit Generator registrations are used to register nuclear generators with the Ontario program. An Alternative Energy Certificate Generator will be designated in the Fuel tab of the generator registration screen. Register a generator. The generator registration process will include both mandatory and optional data entry. The M-RETS administrator will verify all reported generation data prior to making a generator active. The M-RETS Operating Procedures Appendix A, Generator Static Data Fields, lists each field and the method of verification for each generator registration. To begin a registration, select the generator's dashboard from the left menu. You will see active generators registered for your organization. Select the Add New Generator button to begin a new registration. Give your generator a name and select Save Draft. You can change the name later in the process. The generator is now in draft status. You can continue to update your generator. However, make sure you have saved your changes by selecting the Save Draft button. Complete the 6 generator registration tabs. Fields that are required, indicated by an asterisk, but not applicable to a generator located in Canada, can be designated as No or filled in with NA. General tab selections. General information. Please provide the facility and unit name for the generator. Location. Provide the county, province, and municipality information with a facility photo. Reporting and issuance. Designate the reporting entity and issuance account. All Ontario generators should designate self-reporting. The reporting unit ID can be left blank. Issuance account is the account to which all credits from the generator will be initially deposited. Owner tab sections. General ownership information. Single ownership facility designation. Selecting this may necessitate a Schedule A to be uploaded. Owner contact information. Name and address of the primary owner. ownership type and registration rights, type of owner and assignment of registration rights, information details. Operator tab sections, facility operator information, contact information of the on-site operator. Engineering tab section, interconnection information, report the applicable generator classification, balancing authority, and interconnected utility. Engineering, commenced operation date, in-service date of the generator, nameplate capacity in megawatts, AC, the maximum rated output of a generator, capacity factor, the ratio of the electric energy produced by a generating unit for the period of time considered to the electric energy that could have been produced at the continuous full power operation during the same period, maximum annual energy, maximum annual output of megawatt hours of the facility in 365 days, biomass net generation BTU per kilowatt hour only required for biomass generators. Metering information, aggregate metering, yes or no, multiple units that do not share essential generating characteristics should be registered as separate generators under one metering group. Contact the M-RETS administrator if your generator meets this metering description. Revenue quality meter designation and meter ID. Fuels tab, fuel type and fuel source designation, eligibility designation. Designate the Ontario eligibility. Nuclear facilities should designate alternative energy certificate. Documents. Upload all documents supporting the generator registration prior to submitting the generator. Once you have filled in all of the information required indicated by an asterisk, you will submit the generator registration to the system administrator for approval. If you are not sure what a field is asking, please consult Appendix A of the M-RETS operating procedures or contact the M-RETS system administrator. The M-RETS system administrator will try to approve generators submitted with the required information within 7 days. If you need your generator approved sooner, please email systemadmin@mrets.org and communicate your deadline. Submission and review. Selecting the Submit Generator button will submit the generator to the M-RETS system administrator for their review. Please note, your generator must be submitted or it will not be accepted. The M-RETS administrator will then be notified of the new asset registration via email. Your generator will then be put into a pending status until the system administrator approves the generator or asks for further information. Please note, by submitting the generator for approval, the user represents and warrants to M-RETS that all information for the generator shall be true, complete, and correct to the best of its knowledge, information, and belief. Any changes after the submission may result in a delay in the approval process. Generation data. All generation reported for the Ontario program will be reported by the designated reporting entity in the generator's registration. The Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry program requires data to be self-reported unless otherwise permitted by the Ontario Program Administrator. When can generation data be reported? To encourage timely reporting, M-RETS enabled automatic validations to generation uploads. Newly registered generators can report generation back 3 months from the date the generator asset is approved. The Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry program will not permit generation prior to January 2023 to be reported from participating generators. All meter data must be submitted by the transfer and retirement deadline, which is 6 months after the end of the calendar year in which the credit was generated. What data can be reported? M-RETS will measure the output from each generating unit delivered into either the transmission or distribution grid. Credits do not reflect, nor does M-RETS measure losses that occur on the bulk transmission or distribution systems after the metering. M-RETS will not create credits for that portion of the generation used to supply station service. Therefore, generation data supplied to M-RETS must not reflect station service supplied from the generator side of the point of interconnection. Credits from participating generators shall be associated with electricity generated by a generator asset located in Ontario and directly connected to the IESO control grid or a distributor's distribution system. Credits from participating generators shall not be associated with the electricity consumed before being delivered into either the IESO controlled grid or a distributor's distribution system. All meter data submitted to the Ontario program must be self-reported and must have originated from metering data that complies with Chapter 6 of the IESO market rules and associated appendices or the Ontario Energy Board's distribution system code. Notwithstanding the foregoing, where revenue grade meter data is not available, meter data may be submitted as permitted by the M-RETS operating procedures. If the cumulative meter data is negative for any hour, for example, the generator's asset electricity production is less than the electricity consumed, meter data must be recorded as 0 megawatt hours for such an hour. Any user with generation upload permissions can submit generation in either megawatt hours or kilowatt hour data into M-RETS. Each time M-RETS receives generation data for a generator, the date and quantity of megawatt hours is posted in the generation log. Any fractional remainders, for example, kilowatt hours, will not issue credits but will roll over to the next month of generation. Once uploaded, data will be labeled with one of the following status. Accepted, applies to all generation less than 1 megawatt hour reported to M-RETS. The system will add this data to subsequent month of generation for issuance. Issued, applies to all generation 1 megawatt hour or greater and indicates the credits are now active. Rejected, applies to all data rejected by the account holder, qualified reporting entity, or administrator. Data can be reloaded for vintages in a rejected status. Pending, applies to all generation that either 1, fails feasibility and therefore needs M-RETS approval, 2, generation waiting to receive a fuel type allocation from a multi-fuel generator, or 3, generation subject to a 14-day holding period to issue credits. The 14-day holding period is to be implemented in 2023. See Section 4.4.8 of the M-RETS operating procedures for more information about holding period issuances. Data formatting. Generation data can be loaded using the CSV file format or user interface. Loading data via CSV. Users must upload generation data through the M-RETS portal. Data loaded by file must be in a comma-separated value format or TXT file format. The file uploaded into M-RETS should not include a header with column titles. Excel or Notepad can be used to create a generation data file. Programs, for example, Microsoft Excel, that add formatting may reformat date fields, which will result in errors when loading the file. The data should be in an ASCII text with data fields delimited by commas, comma-separated value format. M-RETS supports data reporting by month or by hour. All generation data is to be reported in Coordinated Universal Time, referred to as UTC. The switch to daylight savings time does not affect UTC and is not adjusted to reflect changes either to or from daylight savings time. Please note that all generation must be reported without gaps from previously reported data. Monthly generation data field requirements. The monthly generation data file has 6 columns. Generator ID, the M-RETS ID without the letter prefix. For example, M805 should be listed in the file as 805. Reporting unit ID. Use the M-RETS ID if your generator does not have a reporting unit ID. Vintage, month and year of generation formatted as MMYYYY for any month in the current reporting period. This must be 7 characters long or the upload will fail. Start date of the month. Begin month, day, year of generation. Output period formatted as MMDDYYYY. End date of the month. End month, day, year of generation output period formatted as MMDDYYYY. Total megawatt hours. The total megawatt hours for the reporting month. Hourly generation data field requirements. The hourly generation data file has 6 columns. Generator ID. The M-RETS ID without the letter prefix, for example, M805 should be listed as 805. Reporting unit ID. Use the M-RETS ID if your generator does not have a reporting unit ID. Date of generation. The date the generation occurred formatted as MMDDYYYY. Hour of generation, 1 through 24. All hours of the total reporting period must be accounted for on the file or it will be rejected. Total kilowatt hours for the specific hour. And an optional column for peak to identify peak versus off-peak data, formatted as yes or no. When the user is ready to load the file with generation data, navigate to the generation dashboard and select the Upload button. Under Select File for Upload, choose the file, navigate to a local file on your computer and select it. You should see the file name change in the Upload window. Select your upload granularity, but by default, monthly will be selected. Select the Upload button. The file will be uploaded and the generation will be verified. If your upload file contains multiple generators, you should see a confirmation on the screen. Please note, the dialog box only confirms your file was uploaded correctly. A more detailed report of your file will be emailed to you. The report may contain detailed errors. The generation dashboard will provide status details on loaded generation data in the Activity Log tab, the status of the pending data in the Pending tab, and the status of the loaded file in the Uploads tab. Loading data via the user interface. Generation data can be reported from the user interface using the Add New Entry button located in the generation dashboard. The user interface allows the organization to select the generator and report for a specific time period. The user interface will ask the user to designate fuel splits. If the generator is a single fuel generator, the user is required to enter 100%. The final page of the generation reporting user interface allows the user to review the reported generation before submitting. All generation data submitted to M-RETS will undergo an automatic validation to verify that the reported data is feasible for the hours reported in the file. The feasibility validation will ensure there are no overlapping generation entries and that there are no gaps in the reported dates. Using the reported capacity factor and nameplate capacity, M-RETS will verify reported generation is within acceptable threshold of 2%. The capacity factor is commonly defined as the ratio of the electrical energy produced by the generating unit for the period of time considered to the electrical energy that could have been produced at continuous full power operation during the same period. M-RETS will use the following formula to calculate the feasible generation for a reported period. Nameplate capacity times capacity factor times hour in a reported duration times a factor of 1.02. Reported vintages that fail M-RETS data feasibility validation will need to be validated by the system administrator. If your data fails the capacity factor validation, it will be displayed on the Pending tab of the generation dashboard. The status will be reflected as pending capacity feasibility. The user should provide their meter readings or screenshots of their meter data acquisition system substantiating the reported data. The M-RETS system administrator will approve the generation and make recommendations to update your capacity factor if there is enough data to do an analysis. Using an average capacity factor for generators subject to seasonal variations, for example, solar or wind, can result in a validation process that falsely accepts the reported generation in seasons of low generation and falsely rejects all reported generation in seasons of high generation. The M-RETS administrator can review historic meter data to model monthly capacity factors. Using validated data to perform an analysis and calculate monthly capacity factors, the M-RETS administrator can add a validation curve to make the capacity validation more accurate. M-RETS will validate that the reported generation is within 3 months of its first being registered or not prior to January 2023. If the reported generation is outside of the acceptable reporting period window, the data will be set to the pending date feasibility status. Contact the M-RETS administrator to review data in this status. Generators with multiple fuel sources will be set to a pending status until the user reviews the loaded generation and reports the fuel split. Generation data will be used to issue certificates when the data has been accepted. There are 2 ways to access the Multifuel Issuance fuel split screen. You can enter the interface to update fuel splits by selecting the Update Fuel Split in the dashboard notice that is displayed when the data for multi-fuel generator is loaded and waiting for a fuel split. You can also access this interface from the Generation dashboard and selecting the Pending tab. Scroll to the right of the report and select the Fuel Split button. From the pop-up window, review the reported generation and enter the percentage of each fuel source. Selecting Save will move the generation into an accepted status and then into an issued status when the credits are issued. Generation data loaded into M-RETS for single fuel generators that do not fail the feasibility validation will be used to issue credits. The generation data can be reviewed in the Generation Dashboard's Activity Log tab. Issued credits can be reviewed from the Certificate Dashboard's Active tab. The Certificates Dashboard Active tab is where the user can transfer and retire credits. Participating in the Ontario program. The program feature helps program administrators manage the complexity of their program's requirements and program participants more efficiently. The program feature provides the ability to set up rule sets that prevent retirements of credits outside of the parameters of the program. The Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry Program Administrator will create a program for the program year and send an invitation to each Ontario participant registered in M-RETS. All participants will receive a notification inviting them to participate in the program. Prior to becoming active program participants, the invitee must accept the invitation. After accepting the invitation, the organization must create a retirement account and associate the account with the appropriate retirement program. Accepting an invitation to a program. When the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry Program Administrator invites a participant to the annual program, a notification will be displayed in the organization's M-RETS dashboard. To accept the invitation, select the Answer button. Select the Accept button on the confirmation pop-up. Once an organization accepts an invitation to participate in a program, the participating organization must create a new retirement account and link the account to the program. Open the Accounts dashboard and select the Add New Account button. Select the retirement account type. Select the program to associate with the retirement account and enter a name relevant to the program. Select Save. As credits are retired into this retirement account, they will automatically appear on both the program administrator's and the participant organization's program dashboard. This dashboard is tailored to only show relevant information for the program. If a user attempts to retire credits that do not match the predetermined criteria of the program, the system blocks the retirement. This prevents the retirement of incorrect credits. The Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry permits active credits to be transferred between Ontario participants into active accounts and into retirement accounts. Users can transfer certificates to specific accounts manually or automatically upon upload. Each account has a unique identification number like a banking system. Users may attach aliases to accounts for ease of reference, for example, by province or by product name. Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry permits transfers if the transfer occurs by the transfer and retirement deadline. All transfers and retirements must be completed by June 30th of the following year. The credit has been generated in the calendar year immediately prior to the applicable transfer and retirement deadline. The credit is transferred to an Ontario transferee. Transfers to non-Ontario participants is not permitted. The credit will be retired by or on behalf of an Ontario transferee against electricity consumed by the Ontario transferee in Ontario in the same calendar year in which the credit was generated, and the credit has not been previously transferred or retired. For clarity, an Ontario transferor shall not export a credit from the Clean Energy Credit Registry. M-RETS certificates associated with generator asset located outside of Ontario may not constitute credits for the Ontario program and may not be imported into the Clean Energy Credit Registry. Certificates are managed in M-RETS through active and retirement accounts. A user can create an active or retirement account from the Accounts dashboard. Open the Accounts dashboard and select the Add New Account button. Active accounts. An organization can have one or more active accounts. An active account is a holding place for all active M-RETS credits. The active account is like a cash checking account. M-RETS certificates in active accounts are liquid, and an organization can transfer or retire the credits. If the account has a generator registration associated with it, the active account will be the first point of deposit for any M-RETS credit created that are associated with the generator unit ID number. Active accounts can be accessed and created from the Accounts dashboard. Open the Accounts dashboard and select the Active tab. Select the account type and enter a name of the account. Credits will be deposited into the active account designated in the generator registration. M-RETS will allow an organization to create an unlimited quantity of active accounts. Select Save. Retirement accounts. An organization may establish multiple retirement accounts. However, clean energy credits are only permitted to be retired into retirement accounts linked to the Ontario program. Retirement accounts can be accessed and created from the Accounts dashboard. Open the Accounts dashboard and select the Retirement tab. All Ontario participants will be invited to the Ontario program. A retirement account must be linked to the program. Ontario participants are not permitted to manage retirement accounts that are not linked to the annual Ontario program. Once an organization accepts an invitation to participate in a program, the participating organization must create a new retirement account and link the account to the program. Open the Accounts dashboard and select the Add New Account button. Select the retirement account type, select the program to associate with the retirement account, and enter a name relevant to the program. Select Save. As credits are retired into this account, they will automatically appear on both the program administrators and the participant program's dashboard. The dashboard is tailored to only show relevant information for their program. If a user attempts to retire credits that do not match the predetermined criteria for the program, the system blocks the retirement. This prevents the retirement of incorrect credits. A retirement account is a repository for M-RETS certificates that the organization wants to designate as retired for a voluntary environmental claim, for a beneficial owner, or towards a program. M-RETS credits in a retirement account are no longer transferable to another party and serve as an electronic proof of retirement. Once an M-RETS credit is retired to a retirement account, those credits may not be transferred to any other account, including other retirement accounts. For example, if an organization has multiple retirement accounts. The retirement account is effectively the last resting place for the M-RETS credit. An Ontario transferee that accepts the transfer of a credit shall retire the credit by moving it to the Ontario Program Retirement Account and selecting the Ontario retirement type and voluntary retirement reason. An Ontario transferor that does not transfer a credit by the deadline shall retire the credit by moving it to the Ontario transferor's Ontario Program Retirement Account and selecting the Ontario retirement type and voluntary reason. Credit transactions. M-RETS users may transfer active credits to another organization, another active account, and to a retirement account. Transferring credits to another organization. Ontario participants are not allowed to transfer or export Ontario credits outside of the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry. All transfers must be sent to Ontario transferees that will retire the credits to meet their Ontario load. To initiate a transfer, select the certificates from the Active tab on the Certificates dashboard. Select the Transfer button located in the top right of the report. Edit the desired quantity of credits to transfer and select the Next button. Select how you would like to transfer the credits. There are 3 options available in the drop-down menu. To Active Account, to transfer the credits to an internal active account, to another M-RETS organization, to transfer it to the Ontario transferee. Note, Ontario participants are not permitted by the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry Administrator to transfer credits to M-RETS accounts outside of Ontario. And out of M-RETS platform. Note, exporting credits is not permitted by the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry Administrator. To complete this transfer to another Ontario participant, select the To Another M-RETS organization and look up and select the Ontario transferee you would like to transfer credits to. Select the Review button. Review the transfer and select the Transfer button if the transfer details look correct. A confirmation screen will be displayed when the transfer is initiated. This page will provide a link to download a transaction summary that can be sent to your transferee or kept for your records. The confirmation screen will also have a link that will redirect the user to view the pending transactions dashboard. After a user initiates a transfer to another organization, the transferred certificates enter a pending state. This effectively freezes the certificates, and the system will prevent the transfer from making additional transfers of the certificates in pending status. To review the pending transactions, select the Pending tab from the Transactions dashboard. This table lists all pending transactions for both the transferor and transferee. Once the transferee confirms the transfer from the far right of the Pending tab, both transferor and transferee receive an email if their notifications are enabled. The transferee may reject a transfer prior to acceptance. To review a transfer, the transferee should select the Review button from the Pending tab of the Transactions dashboard. If the transfer looks incorrect, from the Accept External Certificate Transfer screen, select the Reject Transfer button and send the credits back to the transferor. To approve the transfer, review the credits and select the active account where the credits should be deposited. Select the Review Transfer button for the final review screen. Select Accept Transfer button. The transferor may withdraw any transfer before a transferee confirms the transfer by selecting the Withdraw button from the far right of the Pending tab of the Transactions dashboard. M-RETS credits in a retirement account are no longer transferable to any other party and serve as electronic proof of retirement. Certificates must be retired into a retirement account that has been linked to the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry program. Once credits are retired to a retirement account, those credits may not be transferred into any other account, including other retirement accounts. The retirement account is effectively the last resting place for an M-RETS credit. To initiate a retirement, select the credits from the Active tab of the Certificates dashboard. Select the Retire button located in the top right of the report. Edit the desired quantity of credits to transfer and select the Next button. Select the state, provincial requirement retirement type located under the voluntary retirements. Designate if the retirement is towards provincial load or not provincial load in the reason dropdown. Designate the province and compliance period. A notes field is provided to indicate a specific purpose for the retirement that you would like tagged with the retired credits. Select the Next button. Select the retirement account that is linked to the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry program. Select Review. Review the retirement and select Retire to submit the credits to the retirement account. A confirmation screen will be displayed when the retirement is complete. This page will provide a link to download a transaction summary that can be sent to your customer or kept for your records. The confirmation screen will also have a link that will redirect the user to view the transaction history dashboard. Reports. M-RETS provides a download feature for all dashboards displaying data. The download icon is located in the top right of all dashboards, which allows users to download CSV or PDF reports. The Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry Program Administrator is entitled to the following reports and will make them publicly available. Registered Ontario transferors and Ontario transferees, information respecting the number of credits created in a calendar year from Ontario transferors and transferees, information respecting the transfer of credits, including information respecting the credits that are available for transfer and the total number of credits transferred in a calendar year broken down by energy source from Ontario transferees and transferors, information respecting the retirements of credits from the Ontario transferees and transferors, and any information about the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry that is required to be published pursuant to the Ontario Electricity Act or Ontario regulations. This concludes the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry program training. Please visit mrets.org for additional information about M-RETS, documentation, operating procedures, terms of use, and additional training documentation. Please contact the M-RETS administrator with any questions about the use or features of M-RETS. Our phone number is 651-900-7891. We can be reached by email at systemadmin@mrets.org. Please contact the Ontario Clean Energy Credit Registry program with any questions about the Ontario program and its requirements. Their email is customer.relations@ieso.ca.